It's a lie. My life is a lie. Somebody's got to get stabbed. Somebody's got to get stabbed.
Wait, ponies, don't do it. Don't do it. Think about the horses. Think about the little ponies, man. My little pony. My little pony. Think about them. Guys, right now, these gaming streets are wild. We have Sony guys who are so frustrated with Sony that they are making rant videos. I mean, these guys, I thought these guys was on crack.
My mind's telling me no, but the crack, yo, the crack team's telling me yes, gotta go.
But no, some of these ponies are sobering up because the mere fact that Dreamcast guy is saying this.
GAAS guy here, and this is going to be a very angry rant because we gotta talk about the state of PlayStation, because it does feel like a lot of Sony fans, a lot of just gaming industry enthusiasts have started to realize the fact that this generation is borked. It's bad. It's kind of just going down into the history books to truly consider the fact that the PlayStation 5 is selling like crazy. It is exploding off store shelves. Even now, 4 years into the generation, the PlayStation 5 Pro seems to have at least been partially successful, but there is not a bunch of crazy good Sony first-party stuff. This is the worst that Sony first-party has ever been. Like,
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
actually consider that. PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita, every other generation that Sony has been putting out has more games, more passion, more experimentation, more good stories, whereas with the PS5, they're letting everybody else make good games, which is fine. I'm not saying every game sucks, but people are beginning to realize we're not going to get new first-party games until the PlayStation 6.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I can't believe what is going on. I mean, not only ponies are going crazy right now in these gaming streets, but we even have past Xbox guys who are so frustrated with what Sony is doing and the hypocrisy in the gaming industry and in the PlayStation camp.
PS5 is outselling the Xbox Series X like crazy. 70 million console sold. What does that do for me?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Idiot, please explain to me how Sony selling more consoles helps me and you out as a gamer. We play games, we don't play console sales. No. I'm up to here with oh my, yeah, you got me cursing. Listen to me. I'm extremely upset because for the entire generation, it seems like everybody has an insider over at Xbox and Microsoft, but nobody has an insider over at Sony. Nobody knew that 9 games were gonna be canceled?
This is a sickness. It is deviant, therefore we don't want it.
9! Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. What are we doing? Stop focusing on Xbox, because your problem with Xbox is that you think that Xbox is doing bad financially and all this other stuff, and Game Pass is not sustainable, and that developers don't want to develop for Game Pass and all stuff. Meanwhile, the gamers that are gaming on Xbox are perfectly fine. Xbox gamers are actually getting Xbox games. PlayStation gamers are not getting PlayStation games. They're getting third-party games. And you told me that you bought a PlayStation for their single player exclusives.
Gotcha.
That boy was cooking. I mean, he's telling the truth. This guy is telling the truth, man. How come no one knew that Sony was going through all of this behind the scenes? I mean, where are all the so-called reporters? Zuby Tech, Red Dragon, J-Dub. How come you guys did not know this about Sony? Why are you not sharing this information if you knew? I mean, these guys are radio silent. Yes, radio silent about these 8 studios, or these 8 games rather, closing or dying. Sony shutting them down. Why is no PlayStation or major PlayStation channel or Twitter talking about these things? I wonder why. So if you guys did not know, yes, Sony did shut down 8 games as a service. Yes, so out of the 12 games that Jim Ryan said they were making, 8 got cancelled. Why? We'll talk about it. I mean, me hearing this news, I'm starting this video coming out like this. Let's get it!
This is a sickness.
Let's get it! So before we continue the video, guys, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. When you do that, you get some great Xbox content. You get a little bit of Nintendo thrown in there, and of course, we specialize in the Sony Pony salt. We gather the salt all around it, and we condense it here, package it in a nice packaging just for you. So if this type of content interests you, please consider subscribing. Now let's get back to the video. So yes, right now the entire PlayStation community on the defensive mode. They are trying their best to defend Sony and the choices that they made as much as possible.
Now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up. And I'm going to be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person. And that's all I have to say to address him.
Yes, look at these guys try to defend Sony with all these bad news coming out.
Manva One, he says, what do you all see for the future of Sony? They're canceling games, not selling any games, no roadmap, and looking to survive off the hope of Xbox slate. So NYG, I just want to say this much: you are on X way too much. I do not believe that
he's on the too much.
I really don't think that they're waiting on the Xbox slate over at PlayStation. But I mean, I do see your concern. You're saying we don't have a roadmap. We haven't seen a PlayStation showcase in quite some time. Lono, what do you think when it comes down to that? And let's really get into the Bloomberg report that PlayStation cancels 2 live service projects behind Bend and Bluepoint. Of course, they both came out and said Sony did come out and say Bluepoint and Bend are safe. This is not going to be a tarnish on them as far as it goes, as far as the any job loss at this point in time.
Now we know why there hasn't been a showcase, no games. Well, I don't think that's why they're not doing a showcase. I don't think they're doing showcases anymore because they prefer state of plays.
You serious?
I also think they don't need to do showcases because they're leaning on third party.
Finally, these ponies are being honest. So here we have the artist formerly known as Dreamcast Guy and also Jimmy Neutron admitting that third party is what is available currently on the PlayStation 5. They are relying on third party because their first party output is weak. Their first party output is basically a desert. So, I mean, this was a talking point 2 or 3 years ago for the Xbox community when they were saying, these articles and these so-called YouTubers were saying that, here what, why Xbox doesn't have any first-party games, why it is that their first-party games are so sparse. But now these guys are finally admitting that nothing is wrong with, third-party supporting a console when they are weak in first-party. Now they are admitting it. But in the earlier in this generation, that was a major issue for Xbox. So we could see the hypocrisy here in the PlayStation community. But let's listen and let's see what exactly is happening with Sony when it comes to, these 8 games being cancelled. Let's listen.
Reaction. Sony's live service push has been a disaster of utterly insane proportions. A new low. Live service. The 2 words that every PlayStation fan seems to pop a blood vessel over. And you know what? That kind of visceral reaction now seems justified. Under former CEO Jim Ryan's leadership, PlayStation had announced its intent to blitz the live service market, to create PS5 mega hits that would rake in unprecedented dough.
Spectacular, give me 14 of them right now.
Really?
To be fair, everyone wants a piece of this pie, but Sony saw fit to go all in. This was despite strong criticism from hardcore fans, those who had seen the company dominate the previous console generation through the production of unstoppable single-player blockbusters. But with modern, AAA development cycles being so colossal, there was simply no turning the ship around. Except that's exactly what Sony is in the process of doing as we write this article. In case you haven't seen the news, the company has just cancelled 2 live service projects from Bluepoint, the team behind the Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls remakes, and Bend Studio, the developer of Days Gone. We knew next to nothing about these projects. Bluepoint was actually making a live service God of War title, if you can believe it, but the mismanagement of Sony's first-party PlayStation studios is really starting to hit home. With the news of these cancellations, we now have confirmation that Sony had all but bet the farm on its aforementioned live service push. Make no mistake, a staggering amount of resources will have been poured into these projects, and the same goes for Naughty Dog's cancelled The Last of Us multiplayer title. But Naughty Dog is a big enough studio to support 2 ongoing projects, and so we have Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet, a cinematic, single-player adventure to fall back on. Bluepoint and Bend Studio, though. That's God knows how many years down the drain. All that effort chasing the live service dream for the sake of absolutely nothing. And that's when you start to add it all up. The $3.6 billion buyout of Bungie, a developer that couldn't even buy a positive headline if it tried. The now completely forgotten warning sign that was Destruction All-Stars. The utterly mind-blowing Concord saga, in which the live service shooter's life support machine was unplugged just 2 weeks after it launched. Oh, and let's not forget about the reportedly troubled Marathon, Bungie, the long-rumored Horizon live service thing, and Fairgame Dollar. Yeah, it's not looking great for those projects right now, is it? Not when Sony's out here ditching a live service God of War game. At this point, we probably couldn't even comprehend the amount of money that Sony has sunk into this doomed direction. So many talented developers will have toiled away on these projects for thousands upon thousands of hours. The live service illusion, or what little was left of it, has been well and truly shattered. So in what state is PlayStation right now? Well, internally, it can't be pretty. You can't have all of these teams working on AAA budget projects, realize that you're marching straight towards potential catastrophe, hit the reset button, and expect everything to just even out. Sony will know this, of course, but the damage has been done, and PlayStation will feel the kickback of what has ultimately been a bafflingly misguided crusade towards the live service space. If there's any silver lining here, it's that PlayStation has decided to actually cut its presumably gigantic losses and reevaluate its business. Helldivers 2 is the exception, it's certainly not the rule, and Sony has learned that the hard way, having now spent the best part of an entire console generation pissing away time, money, and effort on chasing down a delusional dream.
So there you have it. We have this PlayStation website. One of the editors there would have been honest for the first time, letting persons know that here what, this is an utter disaster. This is a failure to the highest order, and most importantly, he is calling out Sony's mismanagement. This is something ponies cannot do. But just to understand the gravity of what is going on here, Sony would have just cancelled 2 unannounced live service games, so that makes it 8 in total. Yes, 8 games were cancelled by Sony in the past 3 years. Cancel more games than announcing games for their consumers to play. Would you look at that? This is what we are saying when it comes to why these ponies keep focusing on Xbox while their console are literally dying before their eyes because of the lack of games, because of the lack of first party support. But it's not only that, guys. We would have seen an interview with Shuyo Yoshida. I will have a second video of this video here. PlayStation Is Dead, maybe up by Monday or Tuesday. But it just goes to show how the pony community, they are hypocrites, because here we have things happening to PlayStation, but they are not saying anything. But it is what it is. We know that they would have done this. But we end off this video with Doc, right? So let me hear what you thought about Sony closing down these 8 studios. Do you think this is a clear evidence of mismanagement? How many or how much money you think Sony would have spent all these games then to cancel it? I would say just over $1 billion. That's my opinion of what Sony would have lost with all these games that they would have attempted to put out. But listen to Doc here as we close off the show.
About is Sony. Sony is in trouble and you didn't see it, and that's why I'm mad, because you're supposed to be the PlayStation fan. You're supposed to be the PlayStation podcast host. You're supposed to be the PlayStation personality. You're supposed to be the PlayStation journalist that should have been able to see the same way that you can see that Xbox was going to go third party and that they're not making another console, even though they're making another console. You should have seen what's going on with freaking PlayStation, but you don't, because you have your head so far up Microsoft. Jesus, you make the darkness tremble.
Yes, the pony community have this guy praying. Yes, praying. When was the last time you prayed, guys? Don't forget to pray, man. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.